Oh, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, heels and faces, and all my true heels out there? I am Richie Moon. This is Richie's Raw Recap, and today is Tuesday, March 16th. You know what that means. And this is the go-home show for WWE Fastlane. I know, right? It just kind of came out of nowhere. And Raw opened up with setting the match for WrestleMania with Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. A real great way to make your upcoming pay-per-view feel important. And you know, my only issue with this, like I said, it just takes away the suspense, you know what I'm saying? But it set up the main event for tonight, which would be Sheamus versus Bobby Lashley. And of course, what would be an opening segment on Raw without an interruption? And of course, Miz and John Morrison came down to the ring to set up the match that was going to happen right now between Drew McIntyre and The Miz. Drew McIntyre was able to get his revenge from being cashed on by The Miz. It was really pretty much a glorified squash match, and Drew McIntyre ended the match with the Hurt Lock, very interestingly. Next up, we had Braun Strowman. He came out and he shouted at Shane, and he said he has hands. These are hands, and you're gonna get them, and you should apologize. That's literally what Braun Strowman sounds like to me every single time he talks. And you know, Shane came out there and it set up kind of an impromptu match, but it wasn't technically ever a match because the bell never rang. You know what? I have to say this. This was actually surprisingly entertaining. Shane was really just stalling, just doing everything he could to avoid getting in the ring, to a point he did a little hopscotch outside of the ring. And he even got his classic Shane McMahon off the top of the table through the Spanish announce tables spot on Braun Strowman. And he reviews Braun's runaround spot with the camera guy. And it was really interesting. And to end this impromptu match that really wasn't a match, Shane McMahon reverted to the late 90s, as WWE always does, and pulled out some slime from Nickelodeon. That was really weird. I actually like where they were going. And then he pulled out green goo and then pulled it all over Braun. I'm not sure how that's going to play into things, or even if it plays into anything at all. It was just random goo to seemingly set up a match for Fastlane, which is really seemingly going to set up a match for WrestleMania. Because we all want to see Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon, said nobody ever. Literally ever. Next up, we had the Raw Women's mid-card standing in the row as R-Truth did his best Stone Cold Steve Austin impression, because today's 316 day, you know what that means. And next up, they set up a Diva-style tag team match, but with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, and they come out and they're blonde, and then they do this with Lana and Po Naomi. And Dana Brooke went over Lana, and like I said, in a Diva Styles match. It's just ridiculous. Why are we converting back to this? I thought we were moving forward. But then that match got interrupted by Asuka just putting a beats on Shayna Baszler. And I gotta say, this is the most badass that Asuka has looked in a while. And, you know, she beat her in a match, even though there was some controversy with her being rolled up and pinned. Whatever, that's not even important. That literally does not matter. What matters is after the post-match is when Asuka is just going to town on Shayna Baszler, beating her down, taking the turnbuckle off, taking the protection pad off the turnbuckle, and kind of doing American History style X with like kicking her head in and injuring her teeth for the payback. Here, listen, I'm here for Shayna Baszler versus Asuka. Just build it up properly. Please, what's this probably going to end up doing is they're going to try to slowly turn Asuka heel for the matchup at WrestleMania with Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. I can give you some insight, WWE. That's probably not going to work, and the fans are going to end up cheering Asuka more for her being such a badass, because at this point, you just keep flipping Charlotte Flair from heel to face, from heel to face. Just choose one, right? You know what the sad thing about Monday Night Raw is? The in-ring wrestling is usually really good, but the storylines just don't have enough time for us as fans to be emotionally invested. But if we take all that to the side and just look at the in-ring, Raw puts out some really good stuff. So next up, we had the New Day versus the Hurt Business. And these two teams always have really good matches. They always have really good chemistry. This is very reminiscent of the Uso and New Day's feuds of old. The only thing is, the Uso and New Day, they had buildup, they had drama, they had tension, they had reasons to be emotionally invested. Sometimes WWE does quick title title switches to get people emotionally invested. I personally think that's backwards storytelling, but they use that as a prop up to get into the main storyline. And just when you think that this may be something continuing going on, because the New Day, your boys, the New Day became new WWE Tag Team Champions for the 11th time. So shout out to the boys, the New Day. And I thought this was going to be a continuation. We're going to see this feud go on, roll into Mania, but nope, because AJ Styles almost came out there and basically set themselves for #1 contenders, seemingly setting up a match for WrestleMania. Hey AJ, how's that big new fat contract working out for you? Next up, we had Damian Priest squashing Jackson Riker, and then Bad Bunny punched Elias in the face, and then Miz came out there, took Elias' guitar, hit Bad Bunny in the back, seemingly setting up this tag team feud for WrestleMania. Hey, John Morrison, how does it feel to be the sidekick of a sidekick when you were a former world champion all around the world? You could have been Johnny Elite, but now you're just a Miz's sidekick. But hey, money! Next up, Rio Ripley is still coming. That's them telling you they have no creative ideas for Rio Ripley. I mean, maybe they do. Hey, listen, prove me wrong. I love being wrong about these things, but they probably don't have anything creative for Rio Ripley. Then we had Alexa Bliss, who is still creepy, who challenged Randy Orton to a match at Fastlane. At this point, give me what I want. At this point, that's the match I want to see. At this point, The Fiend is gone. Who knows what happened to The Fiend? Well, he got burnt alive, but he's gone. At this point, the feud is Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton. So just like Batista a couple of years, give me what I want. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. Next up, we had Matt Riddle beating Ali in a quick title match. I don't understand. You got two really good wrestlers. Build this up. No retribution interferences, nothing. Riddle just squashes Ali, essentially. I guess it's because Ali just be getting on that mic and just be talking too much. He be spitting too much hot flames, and WWE's not really doing anything with him. I mean, it's just whatever. I have a whole other video for a whole other time. Then, setting up our main event, Drew McIntyre came out and cut a promo about being topless and how he's still a badass. And then the main event was Sheamus versus Bobby Lashley. And Sheamus right now is doing some of his best in-ring work of his WWE career. And Bobby Lashley, just being a walking muscle, walking Armageddon. If you know, you know. These two just clash. It was a really good match, but unfortunately, not even unfortunately, this was supposed to happen. Bobby Lashley, your new WWE champion, defends it. He wins with a spear, then he puts him in a hurt lock after, and then Drew McIntyre comes in, hits him with the Claymore kick to end Raw. And this is your go-home angle for Fastlane. Now, WWE shot themselves in the foot because they undermined a lot of the things that are happening at Fastlane by announcing so many things for WrestleMania. All you had to do was literally wait 1 week, and then we can just build this all the way into WrestleMania. But hey, I've only been watching this stuff for like 24 years. What do I know? So what do you guys and girls think out there? How do you feel about Raw? Man, Raw has been just very matte. It's been like you can miss these episodes of Raw, still see the pay-per-view, and it really doesn't feel like you missed anything. The in-ring action, when given enough time, given enough build, we can emotionally invest in it, and the in-ring action is always good. But these lackluster storylines, these repeat storylines, going back to the Diva-style matches with the women, is not doing any favors as far as my regards as giving Raw a higher grade or a hit or miss. This was very average, very missable. This does not make me want to tune in next week. At this point, I just want to see the road to WrestleMania through SmackDown and NXT. Raw just happens to be there. So for me personally, this Raw was a miss. It was very missable. Nothing really that exciting in it. And yeah, that's the way it's been for the last couple of weeks. Hence why I didn't do it last week, because it was a waste of my goddamn time. But with that being said, I am Richie. This is True Yo Heat. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe in the comments, and let me know what you think. Was this a hit or miss? Like I said, this was a miss for me. And go check out all the other works that we have on the True Heel Heat channel. I am Richie. This has been Richie's Raw Review, and I will see you next week. Peace.